Omakyana Tirandasya Tsunansla Shlakaya Shakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravanya Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatai Desatarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaura Bhaktavin Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. But today is the auspicious day of Gaura Purnima, the appearance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that at least today it's celebrated here in Europe, I think also in North America, but because of the Tithi, the time change, or the celebration of Gaura Purnima is tomorrow in India. That is what I've been informed. But today's Gaura Purnima, it's the day of Purnima, means full moon. It's the full moon in the month of Falgun. That in India there are 6 seasons, and the most beautiful of all, or best of all seasons, is springtime, Vasant, and it's the king of all seasons. It's the best seasons. During springtime, that the atmosphere is very beautiful. It's warm weather, full of flowers. It is said in this season Cupid is prominent. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on a full night. So we know that in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani is the main gopi, and she controls Krishna's internal potency, Antaranga Shakti, spiritual potency. And in Vrindavan, many times we see the essence of Vrindavan there. Love increases when they face obstacles. Now, sometimes there's an obstacle such as separation, but that feeling of separation increases their love. So sometimes in Vrindavan we have 2 kinds of gopis, the left-wing gopis and the right-wing gopis. Srimati Radharani is the head of the left-wing gopis. And sometimes Krishna is with Chandravali, a right-wing gopi. And that increases Radharani's anger. That also sometimes a gopi, Vraja, she went to Kunj, a garden house with Krishna. And Krishna was in Vraja's Kund, and Radharani started to look for Krishna. And Radharani wanted to attract Krishna more than the other gopis. And therefore, she made a beautiful kunj to attract Krishna. In fact, she created a beautiful island and decorated it very nicely. Beautiful garden house. This island, on this island, Radharani started to play the flute to attract Krishna. Normally it's Krishna who plays the flute. But now Radharani was playing the flute, and Krishna, hearing the flute of Radharani, came to Radha. He came to Srimad Radharani attracted by her. And when Krishna saw the beautiful island, the garden house, he said, "This is like new Vrindavan." That because it was new, because Radharani created it, and because it was an island, Krishna called it Navadvip, a new island, that new Vrindavan. And then Krishna embraced Radharani, and Radha and Krishna became one. And Radha and Krishna becoming one is the identity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That it is said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nai Angram. Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna together. In Navadvip, Krishna exhibits the mood of Radharani. That normally Krishna, when does Krishna appear in this world? That he appeared in the 7th Manu. There are 14 Manis in a day of Brahma. A day of Brahma is 1,000 millennium of 1,000 Divya Yugas. That so one Manu lives for more than 70 Yugas, Divya Yugas. Our present Manu is Vaishvata Manu. And in the 28th of Chatra Yuga, of Divya Yuga, of the 7th Manu, there are 14 Manus, 7th Manu, so we are half of Brahma's day. Krishna appeared at the end of Dvapara Yuga. He appeared. That so in one Manvantara there are 71 Divya Yugas, so 71 and dot and a bit multiplied by 40 Manvantaras is 1,000 Divya Yugas, a day of Brahma. But in the 7th Manvantara, Vaishvasata Manu, he appeared in the 28th Divya Yuga, that 28th of the 71. And Lord Krishna appeared at the end of Dvapara Yuga. That so after drawing his pastimes in Vrindavan, Krishna was thinking, I did not give Vraja Bhakti yet to the world. There are 5 kinds of relationships that we can have, and 5 kinds of relationship with Krishna. The first is neutrality, Santaras. Then we have servitorship, Dasyaras. Friendship, Sakyaras. Parental, Vatsalyaras. And conjugal, that's Madhuryaras. But even friendship is very special, because in friendship means equal. You must see yourself equal to Krishna. And Vatsalya is more special, because parental love, then you are in a superior position as a parent. And most special, of course, is conjugal love. Krishna comes to Vrindavan, is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in Vrindavan he's just a coward boy, that and that's so. How is this possible? Everyone thinks him as a cover boy. This is possible by the arrangement of yoga maya. Maya means illusion. Illusion does not mean here out of ignorance, but this is spiritual illusion out of intense love for Krishna. Due to our intense love for Krishna, we forget who Krishna is. But generally, Krishna does not give this intense love. It is reserved for Vrindavan. We are following Vaidhi Bhakti, following rules and regulations, chanting rounds, following principles, attending Mangalarti and so on. We follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. But just by following this Vaidhi Bhakti, one cannot understand the moods of Vraj, this Vraj Bhav now. Vaidhi Bhakti is based on servitorship and neutrality. So in the mood of awe and veneration, when one follows Vaidhi Bhakti, one can go to Vaikuntha. By Vaidhi Bhakti, one cannot understand Vrindavan. Krishna taught that after his Vrindavan pastimes, he was thinking, how can I give this to the people of Kali Yuga? And Krishna taught, I will establish Harinam Sankirtan, and by doing so I will appear and teach everyone how to become my devotee by appearing myself as a devotee. And so I will make everyone dance in Krishna Prema, in love. Therefore Krishna came to Navadvip, New Vrindavan, which was created by Srimati Radharani. So Navadvip is created by Srimati Radharani. So how special this place is. So just by hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, one can develop this Krishna Prema. And this is the position of Lord Chaitanya. Namo ma vadanyaya Krishna Prema padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya namno Krishna Tvise Nama. Is the Namo ma vadanya is the most compassionate incarnation, the most Krishna Prema Padayate. He gives Krishna Prema freely. So we have here this verse on the screen, which shows one of the reasons why Lord Chaitanya came, to give us what was never given before. I will read the verse. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Jai Jai Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Anarpita Sharim Shakarunaya Vatirna Kalo Samarpaitum Unachvalarasam Svabhakti Shriam Haripurata Sundra Dyuti Kadampa Sandipita Sadaridaya Kandres Pratva Sachinandana. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendentally situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So Krishna came to give this Vraja Bhakti. It is certainly nectar of devotion. To develop this Vraja Bhakti, one must follow a resident of Vrindavan to get this Vraja Bhakti. So once also Lakshmiji wanted to become a coward girl, so she wanted to enter Vrindavan. But she was not allowed to enter Vrindavan, because to enter Vrindavan, she had to give up her ego of being Lakshmiji and accept a very low position as a coward girl in Vrindavan. And she could not do that. She was not allowed, but still she was angry why I can't enter Vrindavan. And she started to perform austerities for a long time. And then Krishna came and said, why are you doing these austerities? And Lakshmiji explained. But then, yes, that Krishna allowed her to enter Vrindavan als Shivatsa, gold hair on his chest, golden hair. So to enter Vrindavan, one must associate with the residents of Vrindavan. That's the only way to develop this Vrajabhav. But yes, but we can develop this love by chanting the holy names and becoming attached to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. Radha and Krishna together. So he represents Srimati Radharani. If we follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are following the highest residence of Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani. And it's by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we can develop this love, this Vraja Bhakti, by chanting the holy name. By chanting the holy name, Krishna will appear in our heart. And this is the great gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself. He is a master of Golok. All the residents of Vrindavan are chanting Krishna's names, Krishna's glories in so many ways. So this is the practice in Goloka Vrindavan. And Lord Krishna brought himself this holy name to us from the spiritual world. Like Lord Chaitanya said, he put all his potencies are in his holy name because it's not different from the holy name. And by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we can enter Vrindavan, develop this Vraja Bhakti, just by following in his footsteps. So this are the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that the Lord Chaitanya has been predicted in the scriptures, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that there are mainly three verses in the Bhagavatam that predict Lord Chaitanya. The first verse is in the seventh canto, chapter 9, text 38. And there we have Prahlad Maharaj is praying to Lord Nrsimhadev. He's pacifying him, pacifying Lord Nrsimhadev with his prayers. And there in that verse it says in Kali Yuga, so you appear as three yuga, in three yugas that so we know he appears in Satya Yuga's Hamsa avatar, in Treta Yuga's Jagya avatar, and in Dvapara Yuga as Krishna. That so therefore it's called Tri Yuga. But Prahlad Maharaj said, you appear also in Kali Yuga, but without Chana, covered. You do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Lord Chaitanya, he blocked his ears with his hands, denying his identity with Krishna, because he was playing the part of a devotee. Only his confidential associates knew. But then there is a second reference of Lord Chaitanya being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 8, text 13. There Gargamuni, he meets Nanda Maharaj, because Gargamuni was sent by Vasudeva to Nanda Maharaj to perform the name-giving ceremony of Krishna. But Gargamuni said, I cannot do that, because that if we do that publicly, Kamsa will get to know it. And therefore, Nanda Maharaj convinced Gargamuni to do the names-giving ceremony in a cow shed in secret. And there Gargamuni first made various predictions of the identity of Krishna. And he said, yes, before this child appeared, he appears in other yugas as white, red, and yellow, and now he's appeared in a blackish color. So white is Hamsa avatar in Satya Yuga, red is Shakya avatar, Treta Yuga. Krishna appears as black. Who is the yellow? The yellow is the Pitta Varna. That because in the 11th canto, the incarnations for each age are described, and in Kali Yuga, Bhagavan appears in Pitta Varna, a yellow color, or GAURA Sundar. Although he speaks of Krishna Varnam, so appears in this molten gold, radiance of molten gold, which is also mentioned in this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is still on the screen. This molten gold is the color of Srimati Radharani, because Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Srimati Radharani. he appears in this gold, that color of molten gold. Finally, also in the 11th canto, Lord Chaitanya is predicted. It says there, of course, that Krishna appears, Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam, in the 11th canto. Krishna appears that he doesn't have a blackish color, but is understood to be Krishna himself. And he appears with his associates that to distribute the chanting of these holy names. Prabhupada said so that Lord Chaitanya appeared to spread the Sankirtan movement. And the Sankirtan movement was inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, one who tries to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Sankirtan, the Sankirtan movement, knows everything perfectly, Srila Prabhupada says. He's Sumedha, a person with substantial intelligence that so yes, but these are references about the appearance of Lord Chaitanya from the Bhagavatam, 3 verses, but there's also a verse in the Mahabharata that in the Mahabharata there is this verse from the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra. Suvarna Varna Hemango Varanga Sandra Rangati Sannyasa Krishama Santo Nishta Santi Paraina. The Supreme Lord appears with a golden complexion. His limbs are the color of molten gold, again molten gold. He will take sannyas, be fully self-controlled, and will be completely peaceful. So this molten gold, again, is the color of Srimad Radharani. Because Krishna is in the mood of Srimad Radharani. That, so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the first chapters, is the internal and external reasons for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya are explained. And internal reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that Krishna feels that Srimad Radharani is feeling more pleasure than me. So what is it in me that attracts her? I want to experience her feelings of love and bliss. So this verse here is from the Vishnu Sahasranam, and it describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That it is from the Mahabharata, from the Anusasam Parva. There, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Bhishma Dev, who is lying on a bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra. And Yudhishthira asked him different questions, that profound questions. And the answer to these questions is the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra, the 1,000 names of Vishnu, which Bhishma recites. Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking, Kena nam shapaneva puchate paramatmana. By chanting whose name one can attain the Lord. Yeah. By chanting, what can a living being can a living being be freed from birth and death, the samsara? Then he's asking, who is the only supreme God in this world? Who is the ultimate refuge of all living beings? Whom should we praise? Praise by worshipping whom can people attain auspiciousness? What is the greatest dharma among all dharmas, in your opinion? So that were all questions by Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Bhishma, he answers these questions by reciting these 1,000 names of Vishnu. And he said chanting these names is the best practice for liberation and devotion to the Supreme Lord. So Vishmadev proclaims Vishnu or Krishna is the Supreme God. And worship and praising him brings auspiciousness and liberation. So he recites these names that and Bhishmadev also explains the benefit of chanting these names. It has it purifies one from karma. So the Mahabharata, the oldest surviving copy of the Mahabharata found for the 3rd and 4th century. Also copies were found in the 11th century, 12th, 13th, all before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So this verse was there. Of course, there are all other scriptural resources, like the Chaitanya Upanishad, the Padma Purana. There are also verses predicting Lord Chaitanya, the Vaivishya Purana, and of course, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that I read another verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita about confirming that the Supreme Lord is that Lord Krishna Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That not sure. Yeah. It seems not to be this verse, but I've the translation here. Kali Yuga Lila Avatar Nakari Bhagavan Ataiva Triyuga Kari Kari Puran Sedvara Achana Haya Janme Gaurarai Sedvara Bhakta Bhave Karan Kikar. This, I try to read Bengali. But, in Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord does not appear as a Lila avatar, therefore is called Triyuga. But to deliver the devotees, he appears as Lord Gauranga in a hidden form, accepting the mood of a devotee. So that's the reference is not correct on the screen, but I read the verse that is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, that we have described so far the reason for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, that and many scriptural evidence, but it's not only scriptural evidence, it's also superhuman activities. And there are so many superhuman activities. And to end, I would like to share one of these superhuman activities. And it is from the Madhya Lila, chapter 15, from Chaitanya Bhagavat. There are 11 biographies of Lord Chaitanya. And the most complete is Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says the real Vyasadeva, Veda Vyas, the real author of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes is Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Because especially, many pastimes during his childhood and later is the beginning of the Sankirtan movement in Srivas Thakur's house are described quite deeply. That Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj says, I'm just repeating, I'm just writing what Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur didn't write. That, so yes. And so I will read one pastime, and that took place in the beginning when Lord Chaitanya started his Sankirtan movement with his intimate associates in the house of Srivas Thakur. They had day and night kirtans there, very ecstatic. And so I will read from Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's a summary of the pastime, otherwise it may be too long. Madhya Lila chapter 15, Chaitanya Bhagavat. One day, as was usual, the Lord was dancing in Srivas Pandit's house. The devotees, including Srivas, surrounded the Lord and sang and danced. Just then, in the inner quarters of the house, Srivas' son passed away due to some illness. The ladies helplessly looked on. Outside, the kirtan was in full progress and the Lord danced in ecstasy. Suddenly, sounds of loud wailing filled the air. Srivas Pandit hurried into the house and saw his son lying dead on the bed. Srivas Pandit was a very elevated devotee, grave and knowledgeable. He took charge of the situation and forbade the ladies to lament so bitterly. He said, "You are all aware of Lord Krishna's transcendental potencies. Hence, restrain your tears and contain the sorrow in your heart. The Lord, whose holy name is capable of purifying even the most dreadful sinner, is just on a simple utterance and elevates him to the spiritual world, is now present here in person and dancing in ecstasy with his servitors, who are each of them like Lord Brahma himself. And in this auspicious moment, and if someone leaves his body, why should anyone lament? I would consider myself very fortunate if I had the same fate as this boy. Although you are unable to gain distance from the attachment of family life, you should at least stop crying. Nobody else should learn about this incident, lest this raises an alarm and disturbs the Lord's bliss in chanting. And if this happens, then I shall certainly throw myself into the Ganges." So Shiva said, don't cry, don't disturb the Sankirtan, the chanting of the Supreme Lord. These words had a sobering effect on the women, and they stopped crying. Shiva's Pandit went back to join the Kirtan. He was soon floating on the waves of divine bliss generated by the Kirtan and the Lord's presence. Shiva's Pandit was very exalted and rare, and such are indeed the characteristics of a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The Lord danced for a while, relishing the bliss of dancing. Soon the news of Shiva's Pandit's son's passing away reached the devotees. Still no one openly expressed anything, but they were profoundly moved within. Lord Chaitanya, the omniscient Supreme Personality of God that knew everyone's heart, he inquired, "Today something perturbs my thoughts. What distress has cast its dark shadow on your house, Pandit? Asked Lord Chaitanya. Shivas replied, My lord, what distress can affect me, since your benign smiling face illuminates my house? Finally, the leading devotee informed the Lord about Shiva's son's demise. Gravely the Lord asked, When did this happen? And was told that if it occurred in the early part of the evening, it was told that his son passed away in the early part of the evening, about 4. The Lord was told, You were not informed of this matter because Srivas was concerned about disturbing your dancing. His son passed away about 2.5 hours earlier, and with your permission, we can begin the necessary last rites now. When Lord Chaitanya heard this wonderful story about Srivas, he was amazed. He said, How can I ever live without such an extraordinary companion? And begin to weep. And he began to weep. He said, How am I going to leave such a saintly person's association who is unaffected by the demise of his son due to his love for me? Speaking in this manner, the Lord broke down and wept bitterly. The devotees were perplexed to hear the Lord's words, which indicated he was going away. It did not make sense to them, for none of them knew that in the future the Lord would leave home to embrace the mendicant's life of a sannyasi. When the Lord calmed himself, it took all the devotees to attend the dead boy. In the presence of all the devotees, the Lord addressed the deceased son of Srivas Pandit. What reason made you leave Srivas Pandit's house? The devotees were surprised that the Lord was speaking to a dead body. Their surprise turned to sheer wonderment when the deceased young boy spoke up, saying, My Lord, everything happens according to your will alone. Who can influence your will? So the dead body was speaking this word. The devotees listened attentively to each word, and the boy continued. So the dead body, the soul, spoke directly. I have enjoyed in this body for the time prescribed for my presence in it. Now the time period is over, and I am leaving to take up another body. And my Lord, although I must leave my present body, please be merciful to me, so that I may never forget you. Who is one's father, who is one's son? Everyone here is to act on the result of one's individual karma. As long as my destiny allowed me to remain in Srivas Pandit's house, I've stayed, but now I must leave for yet another residence. My Lord, I offer my humble obeisance to you and your dear associates. Please forgive all my offenses and permit me to take your leave. With these parting words, the child lay still. The wonderful miracle of the dead boy speaking such words of wisdom was an astonishing experience for the devotees that experienced the bliss of love of God. They threw themselves at the Lord's lotus feet and said, O Lord, birth after birth, in any condition and place, but please let our devotion at your lotus feet be unflinchingly. Shiva's Pandit and his 3 brothers prayed earnestly to the Lord, and all the devotees were in appreciation and joy. The Lord said, Listen to me, Shivas. You are well conversant with the knowledge of family and material life. You are unaffected by the distressful conditions of family life. Not only that, you are so elevated that anyone who sees you will also become free from this entanglement. Nityananda and myself, as your 2 sons, so remove the pain of separation in your heart. The devotees jubilantly greeted these words of divine compassion and love from the Lord. So this is one beautiful pastime from Chaitanya Bhagavat, in which the Supreme Lord showed his superhuman power. But there are many others in 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 many other pastimes that show how the Supreme Lord was show this extraordinary power that no human being could do. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 9, there Lord Chaitanya enters during his tour in South India, enters the Dandakaranya forest. So I read the translation of 3 verses of Madhya Lila 9, 312, 313 till 315. Within the Dandakaranya forest, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited a place called Saptatal, the 7 palm trees. They were very old, very bulky and very high. The name Saptatal is mentioned in the Kishkindia section of the Ramayana and is described in the 11th and the 12th chapter of that section. Upon seeing the palm trees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them, and as a result they all returned to Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. So they disappeared, they went to Vaikuntha. All the 7 palm trees had departed for Vaikuntha. Everyone was astonished to see that they were gone. The people began to say the sannyasi called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be an incarnation of Lord Ramchandra. Only Lord Ramchandra has the power to send 7 palm trees to the spiritual Vaikuntha planet. Of course, we know also that Lord Chaitanya showed himself in his Sadbhuj form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a 6-armed form, 2 arms of Lord Ramachandra with a bow and an arrow, 2 hands of Lord Krishna playing the flute, and then 2 hands of the sannyasi carrying a danda and a water pot. That was one occasion when Lord Chaitanya, but also when Krishna was a child, when Lord Chaitanya was a child, nearby a young boy, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur tells the story of how Nimai showed his Vaikuntha form, that 4-armed form, holding conch, this club and lotus, that before a Brahmin who came to visit the house of Jagannath Mishra. He showed his form, but he told the Brahmin, don't reveal it to everyone. So there are many instances in which the supreme power, superior power of Lord Chaitanya has been demonstrated. So today is GAURA Purnima, and it's a day we pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we chant now the holy names, because it's mentioned in Chaitanya Mandal that Lord Chaitanya said, I will send my field commander, that Senapati Bhakta, and he will spread holy name all over the world. And that's there in Chaitanya Mandal. And the devotee who did that is Srila Prabhupada. This is his field commander. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And by that, we are able to chant these holy names of Krishna. And this chanting can bring us back to Goloka Vrindavan. We chant and we engage in the Sankirtan mission. This is how the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have the power to bring us to Goloka Vrindavan and develop this Vraja Bhakti, this devotion, intense devotion of the residents of Vrindavan. Because when we develop this intense devotion, we can go back to Goloka Vrindavan, enter Krishna's pastimes. And that's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you very much. If there are any comments or questions, please.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I just have a quick question.
Yes, please.
And thank you for your class. So we know that Krishna comes in his original form only one time in the day of Brahma. Is it the same for Lord Chaitanya and for all the other forms of the Lord when he comes? Does he just appear as Lord Chaitanya once in a day of Brahma, or does he appear in as Lord Chaitanya at during other yuga cycles?
Yeah, as I remember reading, is that so when at the 7th Manu, the 28th Divya Yuga, at the end of Dvapara Yuga, Krishna appears, and always in the Kali Yuga after, he appears again. And as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not an incarnation of Krishna. Is Krishna himself. But it is said in other Kali Yugas that it may be an incarnation that comes of that, not Krishna himself, but an incarnation. But I don't know where this reference is, but I read it once. It is there for sure, but the details I forgot. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good, thank you very much. Then I wish you a happy Gaur Purnima, and please pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, because it flows to Srila Prabhupada, so that we get the mercy to develop this Vraja Bhakti, this love for Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai.